It's Tuesday, the 5th of May. It's 12 p.m. We all know what time it is. It is time for English Grade 8, First Additional Language. If you can hear me, please say hi. Hello, everybody. Hello, 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 hello. Yes, we may start with today's lesson. Let's get down to today's lesson. What will today's lesson be all about? In case you are wondering, today's lesson will be about listening and speaking. I know this is something which is it is a challenge to do here on an online platform, but we will do it nonetheless, and it's gonna be good. It's going to be great. So today we'll be dealing with what debating is, the reasons for why we should debate in class. Like you as learners, why should you learn about debate? Why should you even be debating in class? Why are you even learning about debate? I know some of you are wondering what is the relevance of that. It's okay, you will see how relevant that is to your personal life and to your education. We're also going to learn about the benefits of debating as well as how to prepare for a debate. Yes. And all these things we are going to learn today, all of us will be afforded an opportunity to apply them. Everybody's welcome. You are all welcome. 30 participants, I welcome you all. Thank you for joining us today. Before we continue with today's lesson, let's recap what yesterday's lesson was all about. Remember, yesterday we did question form as well as direct and indirect speech. So what we said yesterday, we said that with question form, this is when you turn a statement into a question. And I showed you two ways to do that. I said the first way, when you want to turn a statement into a question, one way, if you want to turn a statement into a question, is to add a question tag to that statement. Do you remember that? I gave an example. I said I gave this statement as an example. I said we are going home, and then when we turn that into a question, I said the answer would be we are going home, aren't we? So that aren't we is what we call a question tag. So that is one way. The second way of turning a statement into a question, we said, is when you rearrange all the words of that statement and you put the question mark at the end. So how is it gonna be? It is going to be, are we going home? So that is what we did yesterday. If you missed out, you can get the video on YouTube. It is there on YouTube. Yesterday's lesson, it was lesson number 12. Yes. And we also did direct and indirect speech, where we also did direct and indirect speech, where we said that with direct speech, that is when you quote what somebody has said exactly. That's when you say what a person has said. And I also gave a couple of examples on that yesterday. Then you also did indirect speech, which is called a reported speech. That is when you tell somebody else about what someone has said. So that is what yesterday's lesson was all about. I also even gave a homework. So did you do that homework? I'm wondering right now if you did that homework of yesterday. So that was what yesterday was all about. So that is what yesterday's lesson was all about. Now let me jump into the lesson for today. So today's lesson is falling under the category of listening and speaking. This is one of those listening and speaking activities that we do in class. Since this is also a class, although it is online, then we are going to do this. So this is what we are going to do. Today I'm going to introduce debate, how it works, what we do in debate and things like that. And then tomorrow we are going to debate. Yes, tomorrow we are going to use the chat. We're going to participate. We are going to debate so that we can apply that which we are learning into this lesson, so we can apply it tomorrow. Okay. So yes, that is the point of our learning. We learn not just to know, but we also learn so that we can grow, so that we can be better communicators, better communicators in writing, even better communicators in speaking. Let's get on with today's lesson. So, speaking is one of the most valuable assets for the lives of learners, both personal and professionally. No matter what you want to do in life, no matter what are your aspirations, this is a valuable asset. You being able to speak so that you can be understood, to speak, to communicate whatever message you want to communicate. This is a very valuable asset for you, and that is the reason why, and this is the reason why we are learning with we are learning about debate as well as other activities under listening and speaking. Okay, so you should be taught or groomed to talk with ease and accuracy. So this statement talks about every learner, whether you are an introvert, whether you are an extrovert, you know, whether you are shy, maybe if you stutter, if you are those people who are stammering, this also includes you. You should be at a point where you can talk with ease, where you can talk with accuracy. Okay, so that is what speaking really is all about. And let me go through the lesson of today, and then I'm going to let you know how we are going to do this tomorrow. So this is the groundwork that we are laying today, so that we need to understand what we are required to do. We need to know and understand what debating is all about, and why you as grade 8 learners need to know and understand debate. Okay, so this is very important. I know maybe some of you, your aspirations are with a career which doesn't really include much speaking, but I can tell you that whatever you want to be, this this skill of speaking and listening is very important for you. Not only for when you'll be starting to work, but also right now at the moment, even as you are a grade 8 learner, you need these skills. You need these skills because you communicate with people, you talk with people, and you want people to get what you're trying to communicate. Okay, and sometimes people just don't agree with you about something, and you want them to agree with you. So this is something that which you need, to understand, to know, and to be able to use, so that you can get, people to agree with you, to convince people. So that is one thing that debate is all about: convincing other people to see your point of view. Yes. So let's get on into it. So the speaking process has the following two stages, and today's lesson will be about me breaking down and explaining these two stages. The first one is planning, which has to do with researching and organizing. Then the second stage is practicing and presenting. So this is what we will be doing tomorrow, guys. Yes, in tomorrow's lesson, at the because there is one point of this lesson where I'm going to give a topic. I hope it's a very interesting topic. Yeah, it is interesting. It is interesting, and it is interesting. You will find it interesting, and then we will use it to apply this speaking process that we will be learning about in today's lesson. So planning, which I said is about researching and organizing. So in this step, it will be about using appropriate register, style, and voice according to the audience, purpose, and the context of the theme. Yes, so in planning, that is when you research and you organize what you would be having. Okay, so one thing to remember will be you should know the context at which you will be saying these things. So in our context, we will be debating in class, so the audience will be our classmates. Yes, every participant who will be joining us tomorrow will be our classmates, will be your classmates. Okay, so that is one thing you should bring in mind. You should also bring in mind the purpose of the debate, the context at which we will be debating in, as well as the theme. Okay, so I'm going to give you that in the moment. So, okay, let me make things easier. So, the topic for tomorrow is going, let me go to the slide where there is that topic. So, tomorrow's topic, it will be summer is better than winter. Okay, so there will be those who agree to say that yes, summer is better than winter, and there will also be others who disagree, who will say that winter is better than summer. So you can choose which side you want to be. Tomorrow we will be debating about it. So with that topic in mind, let me go through these steps. So remember, you are going to have to use appropriate language. Okay, so your choice of words here is very, very, very important. So the some of the things you will have to need to look to will be action verbs. Okay, remember we did those a few lessons ago, where we talked about auxiliary verbs as well as finite verbs. Okay, so you will need to use that to be able to choose the most appropriate verbs that which you can use. Another thing which will be important to use will be adjectives, not just adjectives, but also their comparative and superlative degrees. Remember, I also did that in one lesson in the previous lessons. Okay, so in the previous lessons, we talked about adjectives and their 3 degrees of comparison. You remember? We talked about the positive degree, the comparative degree, as well as the superlative degrees of adjectives. So these are what you are going to use when you plan or when you research or when you organize your facts for tomorrow's debate that which we are going to have. Okay, so today, guys, if you have a question, please ask a question based on what I am doing at the moment. As for what is happening tomorrow, don't worry about that for now. We will talk about that at the end of the lesson. So now let's focus on what I am breaking down so that you understand this, because it is important for you to understand this. Okay, yes. So other things you will need to look into will be adverbs. Remember what adverbs are, right? Adverbs are those words which tell us about how a verb is done. It tells us about how something is done. So you will need also to make use of verbs. Okay. Another thing we will need to make use of will be synonyms and antonyms. Okay. Another thing will be synonyms and antonyms. Remember what we said those are? We said that synonyms are words which have the same meaning, okay? And antonyms are the words which with opposite meanings, okay? Remember we also did that in one of our previous lessons. So yes, even in your debate you will need to make use of these, okay? I mean, sometimes you just need to use those words, which sound remarkable in the eyes of people, so that you can convince them to see your point of view. Okay? If something is beautiful and you are debating about it, you just can't say beautiful all the time. All right? Because by doing that, we run the risk of the word beautiful becoming a cliche. Okay? That means the word beautiful, it will be like it has lost meaning in the ears of people, and you will not want to have something like that in a debate. Okay? Yes, another thing we may need to use will be homophones. Remember, we also dealt with homophones. We said that homo means same and phone has to do with sound. Therefore, homophones are the words which have the same sound, and we define homophones this way. We said that homophones are words which sound the same. We said homophones are words which sound the same when they are pronounced, but they have different spellings and different meanings. Remember that? Let me say it again. We said that homophones are words which have the same sound when you pronounce them, but they have different spellings and different meanings. So examples of homophones, it can be example of homophones. Okay, give me an example of a homophone in chat to show that you remember what homophones are. I will say the definition again. Homophones are those words which sound the same when you pronounce them, but they have different meanings and different spelling. Okay, thank you, Natalie. Natalie says C and C. C CSEE, which is the synonym for look, for watch, as well as CSEA, the C as in like water. Yes, like yes, the sea, the ocean. Yeah, thank you, Natalie. That is a good example for homophones. Thank you, Lizen. Lizen says meat. Meat is in like meeting, as well as meat, the one that which we eat. Ikaneng says no. as well as no. No is in like the opposite of yes, as well as know, which means to know something. It's in like knowledge. Thank you so much. So now you're also going to have to use homonyms. Remember what we said homonyms are? We said that homo means the same, name refers to name. So homonyms are words with the same name, right? That is how I remember them, okay? So when we define them, we said that a homonym, okay, homonyms, okay, we said a homonym is a word which sounds the same when we pronounce it. It is spelled the same when we write it, but it has different meanings. Okay, remember last week I used the example of a bat. Yes, I said the bat, that animal which flies, as well as the bat, that wooden stick they use in baseball and in cricket. Those are examples of homonyms. We also have date. Date can mean an event. It's like today's date, and date can also mean a fruit. So those are examples of homonyms, and even in your debate you will need to use such. So I really hope that at the moment, guys, you can realize how important everything we are learning is. you know we are not teaching anything to pass time, no, but all these things that which we are teaching you, all these things are important. We teach them to you because they are important in your personal life as you are right now, and they will continue to be important even when you become an adult, even when you go to varsity, even when you go out there to fulfill your career aspirations and your goals. Remember, we are all communicators. We communicate all the time, whether it is with writing or whether it is with speaking. Okay, so that is why we are learning all these things you are learning, so that you can become the best communicator you can ever be. All right. Okay, so other things are the figures of speech. We have not done those yet in these lessons, but I know you have done some during the first term. Figures of speech, we have things such as similes, hyperbole, you know personification, all those other figures of speech. You'll also need to use them so that you can get your point across. Okay, so those are the things that which we are going to use. You're gonna need to use all these. Then sometimes you may need to use idioms. Okay, some idioms that we should know, and it will be good to use those common idioms that you think most people know, so that you can be understood, because remember, the point of this is not just to sound intelligent or knowledgeable, but is to also be understood. For you to sound like a genius, for you to sound intelligent, but nobody understands what you are saying. Okay, so that is what it's all about. Idioms. Then sometimes you may have to use proverbs. Sometimes you're going to have to use proverbs. Sometimes it is proverbs which may help you. Yes, sometimes it is proverbs which can help you to to communicate your point much more strongly. Okay, so idioms, sometimes you may have to use idioms. And as for idioms, it will be best for you to use those idioms which are very popular, those idioms which most people know, those idioms that people have heard, okay? Because it will really be pointless for you to sound smart, for you to sound intelligent, for you to sound like a genius, but then nobody understands what you are saying, okay? So it is really pointless for you to sound like that without being understood. So yes, the point here is to use all these words to be understood. You should also remember the tone as well as the mood or the humor. Okay? Remember that every time you speak, there is a tone that which you use. There is a certain mood that which you have. Okay? So that is what this is all about. That is things we will need to remember to use. Sometimes you may have to use some abbreviations, okay, as well as prefixes and suffixes. Remember what these are? A prefix is the start of a word, okay? The start of a word is a prefix, and usually prefixes have some meanings, okay? I demonstrated that earlier with the definition for homophones. Okay, so the word homophones, we can really separate it into the prefix homo and the suffix phones. Okay, so the prefix homo, I said it means the same, and the suffix phones has to do with sound. Okay, so yes, those are some things you may need to understand and to use when you are planning or organizing what you are going to say in the debate. Remember also the use of gender words, plurals, and diminutives. Okay, remember, if you have a question, please use the chat to ask your question and we will get back to you. So yes, we are still on planning. Okay, so you are going to need to have a way to give your facts and to express your opinions. Okay, so you also have to express different types of meanings. Okay, yes, the meaning that which you may, because sometimes you may say certain words but imply another certain meaning. Okay, yes, and remember you'll have to express your values, your attitudes, your bias, stereotypes. Okay, manipulative language, emotive language. Remember this, guys, we also did this in the previous lessons. So and remember, we are still on the planning here. We have not debated. We are learning about how to prepare. Okay, so remember, you'll have to use some resources. Okay, such as dictionaries, and a thesaurus, so you can have good ways to use, like synonyms and antonyms. Okay, so that you can really sound very kn- knowledgeable about what you are going to speak about. Okay, so step number two, that is when we practice and we are going to present. Okay, so here this is all about. Now, when you debate, you are going to be speaking directly to the audience. Okay, the audience, that will be everybody. In this case, it will be every participant in the class tomorrow. Then remember, when you present and when you speak there, you will have to refer to the sources you may have consulted. Yes, maybe you've used Wikipedia or whatever source you may have used, which is reputable, which is relevant to our debate. Okay, so in the context of the debate we're going to do tomorrow, we said summer is better than winter. You may have to use your natural science textbook. Okay, You may also have to use your geography textbook. Okay, so yes, those are some of the things which are important. Another thing is you include a range of facts and examples according to what our debate really requires of you. Okay, and you develop your ideas and your arguments. Okay, so even though you'll be using different sources, but when you present, you should sound very original. Okay, yes, and okay, so yes, you are also going to use some elements of speech forms, you know. Remember, there will have to be an introduction, you know, there will have to be a body and a conclusion in what you would be saying. Okay, so yeah, that is really more or less what this would be about. Okay, so let's continue. So, with practicing and presenting, we are still there. Remember that you should use this. These are some of the structures you may need to use when you present your argument. You should make sure that your argument is chronological. You know, it means if you have three ideas, idea one must link well with idea two, which should link well with idea three. Okay, so they should be chronological so that we will be able to follow your argument easily. Okay, then your structure should also be topical, meaning that there are some certain topics you may need to touch on, okay, which are relevant to the theme, of course. And another thing is cause and effect relationship. Okay, if maybe as you debate the some one thing is caused by another thing, you talk about that relationship, that you know summer is better than winter because in summer there is the sun burns, and when the sun burns there is the flowers. I love flowers, so you know, yeah, I'm just giving you example. So also you should compare things, okay, in your argument, and you should also have the solution to the problem so that to inform and to persuade us. Okay, I mean, I believe that summer is better than winter. So if you say that winter is better than summer, then you should really have those facts, those arguments which can almost make me to change my mind. Okay, yes, and then remember, when you present there, you should prove what you're saying. Okay, you should prove what you're saying by using statistics, for example. Okay, by using a testimony. If maybe you've heard somebody talk about, you know, maybe they were sick in summer, that's why winter's best, or they, you know, whatever it will be. Okay, then yes, you use those types of proof which are valid and relevant. Okay, another thing there is, remember that when we speak, we said that you should use a certain tone. So in this, so in our context, it's going to be formal. Okay, you're going to address people as ladies and gentlemen. Okay, yes, you know, like just be formal. Just imagine all of us that we are wearing formal clothes. Okay, yes, even though we are at our homes and not going anywhere. All right. Yes, remember also to use appropriate language structures and conventions that we've covered in previous lessons, such as finite verbs, you know, and auxiliary verbs. Okay, you will be using that to express the tense as well as as well as your mood. Okay, so those things are important. Remember also to use appropriate parts of speech, right? Okay. Remember, you may also use rhetorical questions, you know, like those are very powerful. Those are very powerful to use rhetorical questions, you know, to pause and to also repeat some points to show how serious you really are and how powerful your argument is. Okay? Remember, okay, if we were in class, like in our normal classes at school, you will have to use verbal and non-verbal techniques to present. Okay, so this has to do with your tone. Okay, the way you sound when you debate is very important, as well as your voice projection. Usually, before like we start to do these things, we will say voice projection out, and you'll be like, hey, you know, voice projection out, hey. So what that does is to clear your throat so that your voice can be projected more powerfully. I mean, if your voice is that powerful, then you can be able to capture anybody's attention. Okay, so yes, it is like, for example, it is like with a lion. They say that when a lion roars, each and every insect on the ground which hears the roar of a lion, they become terrified and they get stuck. you know they just don't move until the roar of the lion quiets down. Okay, so that is the same voice projection you really need to have when you're going to debate. If you're doing that in a classroom setting, yes, you know, like voice projection out. Hey, so you project your voice, you make sure you project your voice to be so strong. Okay, remember, there won't be any microphones. Okay, so because of that, you should make sure that your voice, as you have it, it works for you. Even if you are those people who are shy, who are yes, like you speak in that very soft voice. Yes, if you are one of those people who speak with soft voices, I'm telling you that when you do debate, you should really forget about you being shy. You should make sure that you project your voice. Your voice projection should be enough so that everybody will believe that you are worth to be heard. I mean, look at everybody on TV, when they speak. What makes what makes you to have their attention? It is their voice projection, the way they speak. Okay, so okay, not just in debate, but also all the time. Okay, you should project your voice in a way that the person you're speaking to should believe that, even though I know what you're going to say, but I really need to listen to you. Okay, so remember also the volume. Okay, you you can't speak, you can't speak gently. You can't speak gently. Okay, you have to speak audibly, you have to be audible. Remember also the pace or the tempo. Don't speak too slow because people will be bored and get sleepy. And don't speak fast either because people won't hear what you are saying, and they will be frustrated when they don't hear what you are saying. But speak moderately so that everybody can be able to follow you. Okay, so it is like in the news. You have seen how those news reporters, the pace at which they speak. Okay, the pace at which they speak. All right. So remember the phrasing, how you structure your sentences is very important. Eye contact. Okay, so if you were in a normal class, you would have to look at everybody, not looking down at your school shoes which are shining, not looking down on anything, but looking at the audience. Okay, if you speak to people but you're looking down, they will think that what you are saying is not worth to be heard. So, okay, if it's not worth to be heard, then they won't listen. Remember also your facial expressions should be appropriate to what you are saying. If you are saying something serious, then you shouldn't be laughing. Okay? Yes. Remember now, if I say COVID-19 has killed more than 100 people in South Africa, you see, that's So remember also your gestures and your body language. Okay. So you all can see me now. Okay. So my body language when I debate, I have to be serious. I have to be that person who looks like I am commanding respect. You know, I should look like you guys really need to listen to what I have to say because that is how important it is. Okay, no matter what it is that which you want to say. All right. Okay. Our lesson is almost over. Right. Takeaway message. Remember today, really, this is what we dealt with, and yes, so today we talked about what debating is, okay? We also talked about the reasons for why we need to debate, okay? The benefits of debating, okay, I really didn't say much about that, but you will realize that when you do that, it will help to boost your self confidence, it will help to make you a better speaker. Not only that, it will also help you to apply everything that which we have learned, okay? How to use synonyms, antonyms, homophones, homonyms, adjectives and their degrees of comparison, adverbs, and all things you've already covered. And we also spoke about how to prepare for a debate. Okay, from those two steps that you plan and you will need to present. Okay, so that was me just breaking down all those two steps. Okay, so like I've already said, half of tomorrow's lesson will be us debating about this topic. Summer is better than winter, so please get your facts straight for tomorrow. Okay, for this lesson. So in tomorrow's lesson, before we're going to start with this debate, I'm going to tell you about the procedure for debating. I don't know if everybody knows this, but you know that in a debate there are two teams. Okay, there is the team which agrees with the topic. They call it the proposition team, and there is the team which disagrees with the topic, and that team is called the opposition. Okay, so each and every team will have the same number of people. Okay, the same number in the proposition as well as the same number in the opposition. Then they take turns. Okay, proposition first, then opposition, proposition, then opposition, just like that. Okay, and even everybody on the floor, that is the participants, will also get to participate in this. So that is what tomorrow will be all about. It's gonna be fun. You're going to have to use your keyboard, to text us quickly. Fast fingers. It could be fast fingers. Okay. I can't promise you that you will be unmuted to speak, but I can promise you that you will need to text and text fast. So one tip I can give to you is that what do you think about this topic, just write it somewhere, just type it in that notepad app in your phone, and then tomorrow when it's time, you can just copy it from your notepad and then paste it on the chat, and it's gonna be great. It's going to be amazing. And I will use that opportunity to help you, to see whether you've understood the previous lessons, okay? To see whether you have grammatical errors, spelling errors, whether you have difficulty in using synonyms, antonyms, homophones, final verbs, and everything that which we have covered. So yes, this is the end of today's lesson. So please join me tomorrow. It's going to be amazing. It's gonna be one of a kind lesson, I tell you. So please, guys, prepare for tomorrow's lesson. It's gonna be good. It's going to be amazing. Make sure that your devices are charged. Yes, you can't afford to have your device to switch off on you tomorrow. You really can't. So remember, we are still on social media. Follow us on social media. We are on YouTube. We are on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We would love to hear from you, your comments, your concerns, your compliments, your complaints. Yes, even your complaints. We would like to hear from you guys so we can help you better. Help us to help you, okay? So let's meet tomorrow, same time, same place. From me and everybody else here at STEM Lockdown Digital School, we love you. We say keep well, take care. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.